My most important job as showrunner in Breaking Bad is head writer. Failing all else, that's the most important thing I do, is run the writer's room and ensure that the story gets told.
We'll just drag them out of there before the cops come knocking at the door.
If he could do that.
If he could do that.
He would try. Do we agree he would try to?
I agree he would try.
I think he would try to get rid of it.
And the 7 of us together, with the help of our writer's assistant, Gordon Smith, we hammer out the story. Do we agree Walt can't just leave his family?
That something a bit more catastrophic needs to transpire with Junior.
And then various writers go off and write the scripts.
And that writer invents a lot in that writing process, but all the details, all the structure is created in the writer's room as a group effort.
And then Vince gets the scripts back and he gives his notes.
This is excruciating work, but it's also the most important job I have, and that's what I oversee.
Not only does Vince Gilligan direct, but he directed the pilot, which means he set the look and the tone of the series visually. He's directed Face Off, he's directed season finales, and he's directing the final episode.
I love the meat and potatoes of production. Being on a set, especially when it's your set, is a great deal of fun, and a great deal of excitement is involved.
Vince is very much about what would a real person do.
I think it's Jesse coming straight back, and I think Todd doesn't want to die, and he's really going to fight it. So it's all about Jesse's holding on for dear life and not fighting back so much.
Authentic action in a scene is a big deal for him. You know, so he doesn't want things to be theatrical artificially. He really wants the movements of the actors to make sense.
Directing uses a very different set of muscles and skills than writing does. Directing is very much problem solving in a very real, concrete world. Because I love the pace you both did that at, but just to have it, because we have that nuts on, perfect. Maybe just a little, everything you guys are doing, but just maybe a little
faster.
Only because I would.
A percentage. Give me a percentage.
I'll say 20%.
Ooh.
Just to have it for the master. And I like spending time with Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul and Anna Gunn, our wonderful actors, all of them. I don't get to see them as often as you would think. Very often I'm 800 miles away in Burbank, and all the fun stuff is going on in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I feel like I miss out on a great deal of fun.
Nice, Vince. In there.
Get out, guys. Oh, wait.
He's really hands-on.
Vince is very involved. He doesn't sit back and delegate power to everyone. He's very hands-on and gets his personal touch on everything.
It is truly Vince Gilligan's style and tone that has set up the series and been the through thread for the entire series, and we'll end on that note.
That cut you're just working on where you said his eyes roll up in his head, it feels like his eyes don't finish opening on the A side, but on the B side they're open.
Now we've shot it all, and now it's going to cut together. And the showrunner comes into the editing room, and he's going to do his cut.
I get to take this wonderful creation and, more often than not, hone it to my specific rhythms. In other words, most of what I'm doing in my cut is not changing things around or restructuring them or fixing things, because indeed I'm getting a wonderfully edited piece that I don't need to do anything with. I could let it just go right out the door. So my fundamental job is cutting it down to time so that we can air it on AMC to the length that they require. I love all this stuff. How much over are we? Usually the director's cut comes to me anywhere between 2 or 3 to sometimes 10 or 12 minutes overly long. Maybe we get out a little sooner. Can you start up from him lighting up the joint? It's the closest I get to composing music, and I really love getting to get the rhythms just so when I get to do my cut.
I believe he has a very clear picture of what he's looking for in his mind. He takes our input, and he respects all of us. We work really hard to give him what he wants.
I love the spotting session because all the heavy lifting with the editing and shooting is done. You could bring in a jet plane. You know, one of those really high, long ones that just, it's more like distant thunder or something. We could find a spot to put that in here when things start going south for Hank. And now I get to help these wonderful artists fine-tune the remaining reality that we want to impart to the show, which is the oral reality. It's right on the edge of feeling like a time cut or feeling, so obviously you got to get a very quick, the engine starting up. It's really tight in there. These wonderful artists I get to work with, these mixers and sound effects editors and dialogue editors and music editors and musicians and composers, they all work together as a team to really complete the reality, the real feeling of the show. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it kind of sounds like a mistake.
Just walk into.
Jack, I don't see Jesse Pinkman here. He was right here before.
Pretty good eyes on Pinkman? I never really noticed it at all before, but not to its detriment. And now I don't know. Now I don't know who's saying it. I always like to be at the sound mix. I want to be there, and I want to weigh in on how loud any given gunshot is, or how distant and to the right side of the stereo a jet plane flying overhead might sound. Maybe we could bring down the dog at the very end. His little
feet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's not a problem.
Just put a little more distance on him, maybe.
Okay, I can do that on the fly.
Okay.
So
sounds good.
that'll be our last
I'll
note.
add it to my list.
All right, cool.
That'll be the last note.
Yeah.
Dog, lower.
Dog. Little dog. Looking for a lens that doesn't